There's no way. There's no way. It's way too much damage. Stop him with the block! He found Churchill!
Oh, and he found
wow.
Wow.
Oh, what?
Somewhere there's a covert muffin just applauding this seed.
Holy crap.
Oh man, this is gonna come down to execution in the final escape, isn't it?
Sure is.
Every seed
Our
does.
favorite phrase. Hello and welcome in everyone to the Ori and the Blind Forest Definitive Edition 2021 Randomizer Tournament. We are deep in the preliminary stages of the tournament with this preliminary number 14. This is a free-for-all format, so we have 19 runners today in this match. But today, of course, we are featuring a match between two specific runners, Cereberon versus bdbrufus. I am Mad Insane commentating today with Liftoff. Liftoff, can you tell us a bit about our runners?
I sure can. Let's start with cereberon. Cereberon is a pretty experienced Ori player, more of a challenge runner, and known as a creator of interesting plandos than a speedrunner. But he's still a very good player, and it should be very interesting to watch. He has told us before the race that he's really hoping for being able to enter the Ginzo escape and for a seed that leads into the Ginzo escape. So that would definitely be a treat to watch. We haven't had many of those this tournament so far. What can you tell me about Rufus, Matt?
So Rufus is, although he's been around the community for a very long time, fairly new to Rando, picked it up this year. Plays on controller compared to Cereberon's keyboard mouse, so there's a few differences there that we'll get into if they become relevant. And Rufus says there's not really much of a preference of what seed he's looking for, but isn't feeling all that too confident, so hopefully it'll be a fairly standard, comfortable seed for both our runners here compared to some of the more wild seeds that we've been seeing recently throughout the previous matches.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's see.
What are you hoping
Maybe.
to see?
Well, I would love to see a seed that has an early dash and not much else. Gets you to locations fast, but doesn't necessarily make everything super easy. What would you wish for?
With Cereberon's vast knowledge of all of these crazy tricks from his plandos, I'm really hoping to see some seed in which he can really show off some of that knowledge that most runners will have no idea that some of these tricks are possible. So I'd love to see Cereberon pulling some of these things off. We'll have to see what we end up here. We are starting off the race, and of course, we'll have to see what we get as our first pickup here. Nothing interesting so far. There's
Just an
a few
ability
different.
cell.
Yeah, there's just an ability cell. Not too important. Maybe this ability cell can help if you're trying to skip the cutscene early to go into Black Route. But there's almost guaranteed to get at least something useful in this first area. Of course, the randomizer has a logic built in to say, make sure that every single seed is completable. And again, another not particularly useful currently pickup with the extra double jump, which
It might be
unfortunately does
useful
not
in the
give you double
future.
jump.
It might be useful in the future, but until they actually find the skill double jump, it doesn't do anything for them. It's one of the bonus pickups we've added to the randomizer, because in the vanilla game there is a lot of XP, and it would be very boring to only find XP everywhere. So there are a couple of randomizer bonus pickups, and extra double jump is one of them. We'll call out the others if they get picked up by one of our runners.
Yes, so continuing on, still nothing out. Then there we go. There's our skill. But Bash, a very interesting start to have. Initially, doesn't logic-wise open up that much, and I believe it's only gonna open up one pickup for them, and that is looks like the one that Rufus is going for. Although cereberon is trying to get this fish XP as well, which is an energy cell, and you can barely get this. It's very precise to do this with just the 3 HP and then being able to altar out of it. And
It's
very
also not in logic what cereberon is doing, but still having that doesn't change the fact that it's quite nice to have an additional energy cell early.
It looks like
yeah, go ahead.
looks like Rufus is having a little bit of trouble with this Frankie lore. So what they need to do here is they need to bring this Frankie all the way over a very long journey with just Bash, which is a lot more awkward than maybe what they're used to from many other categories that walk this Frankie over to this XP. Past some spikes that cereberon is going to have some difficulty with unless he manages to get a nice double bash chain off of this Frankie. Isn't sure what angle he's going for, but barely manages to get it. This should work out.
Should be fine.
And Rufus
And there's wall jump. Rufus getting it first, which means that our runners have to go into blackroot burrows.
Yeah, having Bash this early is incredibly useful, though it's often a bit of a unfortunate first pickup to have, is when you have nothing else and have to do that Frankie lore, which is a bit of a rare start, but it's I'm glad both of the runners knew what to do there and managed to pull it off fairly cleanly. So for the Blackroot Burrows area, having Bash here is incredibly useful. It lets you do all sorts of things to speed up this area through being able to bash off the enemies and skipping out on lots of different slow platforming sections. And you can also do things like you can get the spider shots to get from just above them to go faster. They're opting not to do that, and they're going for this little trick up this wall to skip a very long, slow auto-scroller section with some platforms to get this XP here. It doesn't work out to be anything important. And both our runners have exactly the same amount of XP and pretty much the same ability count, which is going to be relevant in a moment. Do you want to talk about why the ability cell count is going to be relevant?
Sure. We've already seen it, but there's a very important glitch in the randomizer and the speedrun as well, I suppose, called a save anywhere, which is essentially tricking the game into thinking you've closed your ability menu when you've actually still got it open, allowing you to move behind it. And if you're in this state, you can learn an ability in any position, basically, not just in places where you can put down a save. And learning an ability saves the game, which allows you to save in any spot you want. And it can be used to enter cutscenes and then save, reload the game, and skip out of watching the cutscene. But to do that, you have to have ability points to actually learn an ability. So every time you want to do this save anywhere, Rufus is doing one right now on the right side of the screen. You have to have at least one ability point to pull it off.
Yeah, and so Rufus is doing this cutscene skip here, but he's actually doing setting up for a cutscene stack here by doing the save anywhere trick that we just talked about, getting the setup here, and then we'll be able to stand in a specific position to get a cutscene, and then that will trigger again during the tree, but barely misses it. Was a little bit too far to the right. It's kind of precise on the timing to get there. And picks
he
up
did
the
get a
clean water.
very interesting pickup behind those crushers, though. He picked up clean water, which, as the name suggests, cleans the water. So dirty water swims not going to be a thing anymore. With remembering that that is out of logic. In standard logic, which this tournament is played on, you need dash to have logical access to that pickup behind the crushers. So maybe that might mean that dash is going to come up shortly, or maybe it's just luck that it happened to be hiding there, and dash is a late game pickup, and they weren't expected to find clean water for a while.
Either way, it's a very useful pickup to have. It's gonna save them from all sorts of problems later on, especially in the final escape. And if you don't end up with a lot of resources like health, then the clean water can save you from a lot of problems. Rufus is opting to go further into glades, whereas Baron is heading down into the boulder escape, where there is only one pickup that's in logic, but there's several things that Baron can get down here, including a teleporter to get back here later.
And Rufus finding the all-important 1 XP pickup. There's only ever one of those per seed, and it's always nice to find that one.
Baron is doing a boulder save anywhere for this boulder to make the boulder forget that it's actually dangerous and become a harmless rolling object that just rolls over Ori, and also importantly make sure that it doesn't kill this Frankie, which this Frankie is a special Frankie. It's a very useful position, but it also, the moment it dies, it never comes back. So keeping that around for a possible later usage of a lore to get into lower Blackroot is very important to have, and that's part of the reason why many runners decide to opt for the save anywhere to skip the boulder.
Baron has found a mega energy behind the boulder that he had the Frankie helpfully stomp for him, and he's out-Ring and immediately heading to the right and unlocking the door to Death Gauntlet. This is a very interesting play. It allows access to Moon Grotto, which is a very dense area and also an area in which there is another skill tree that the runners are going to have to get. Do you want to talk about why skill trees are important?
So since we are in the special mode of clues for this tournament, the clues, every 3 trees that you get, and there's 10 trees total, and all 10 trees are required to complete the run, but every 3 trees you get, you'll get a clue for one of the dungeon keys at random, and the 2 of the dungeon keys are required every single seed to finish, and so having an idea of what area those important keys are in is a very, very useful thing to have, and often forms the basis of many different runners' routing strategies.
Meanwhile, Rufus has cleared out basically the entirety of the wall jump area. Hasn't really gotten much to show for it. No mapstone turn-ins yet. No further skills. So he's currently heading upwards into Spirit Caverns, which is a very dense area. 5 pickups in here that he can check. Since he has Bash, he can also get to this ability cell. And he also has 4 keystones currently, so he will be able to pass through the door at the top of Spirit Caverns, which gives access to another tree. The third tree, which would give him the first clue of the seed, as Matt just mentioned.
So Baron has found the water vein on the water vein, so that is a nice thing to have. But of course, Baron is currently has completely abandoned the concept of logic, which is pretty much what I'd expect from someone who's known for their mastery of pre-made difficult seeds, and is instead opted to dive deep into the grotto, which is very pickup dense, but also isn't guaranteed to have something that is needed for progression. Whereas we still are missing some form of skill or teleporter or something that would be able to unlock the rest of the major areas for the runners, because of course Grotto is not an area they can currently access by the seed's logic.
Yes, there must be a way. There's probably a way over here, and given what we've seen Rufus check so far, I would assume it's on the charge flame tree or in the area around about there. And Rufus seems to be agreeing because he's heading over there as well.
Yeah, and Rufus also has the keystones required to be able to do that. Cereberon's having a little bit of trouble with this frog, trying to get the frog to cooperate. However, the frog is not interested and wants to join in the pool for a swim, sees it's nice and clean, but it's not clean enough for the frog. Rufus it looks like he's, instead of going through the keystone door, has decided that he wants to go for Glazer by the looks of it, which is a very slow pickup to do. And I don't believe this is in logic either, because this requires a double bash to get up here, or one extra energy cell.
Yeah, there's different ways to get up here, like Rufus just demonstrated, but it's not in logic to do so. And oh no, the boulder clipped him. I think that's the point where he's going to be. I'm not going to bother with this and just continues on through Spirit Caverns.
It's a fairly sensible decision. Hopefully that Glazer pickup isn't going to be anything important, though if it does, it's going to affect both of the runners so equally, so that's not going to be a race decider, hopefully. But Rufus is continuing on, following the logic, so we'll get to see what the seed has in store for the runners continuing on.
Meanwhile, Baron has
skip cutscene for the spirit tree.
Yeah, I would just wanted to bring to your attention, Baron has gone to the lowest point of Grotto, opened the 4 energy vault down there, and he finds the Gumon seal. That's very interesting. Grotto sure has a lot of dungeon keys today. But he alt-R's out. He does want to keep that, and we'll see how he progresses. If he goes back to Grotto, or if he heads over to Glades and opens the keystone door there, which I do not believe he has done yet.
Yeah, and Rufus is now heading to the charge flame tree. We're about to see, but then takes a death to the Frankie, not expecting the sudden 2 damage from that Frankie shockwave. Gets him again. This Frankie is ruthless today. Got to be very careful to make sure you're not in that very hard to see area. But it's also got a slight problem of if he does go down to the charge flame tree, it doesn't decide to save anywhere, and he won't be able to get out of it. But gets charged.
And there's charge jump.
There's no longer a problem, and this is the progression that they were looking for. And this is the power of following the logic, and when the seed is so limited in what's unlocked.
And there's dash.
Even
Sea
better,
Flame area is
dash.
really the place to be. All 3 power skills have been found within 15 minutes.
Now
What an
the
opening.
seed is just almost completely unlocked. So many areas are accessible. The clean water is now actually in logic now that they've found the dash pickup. So anything they find underwater is something that could have been placed or force placed by the seed generator. But Rufus doesn't, because of it doesn't have enough ability cells to level up charge dash, and so can't break the wall going into the main grove area and the spider sack area, and so is instead opting to go back down into the Blackroot area. I'm not sure what pickup in particular Rufus is looking for here, but we'll have to see what the plan is.
What?
Oh, he hasn't cleared the boulder escape. In that case, it makes a lot of sense. It's my mistake.
What's interesting about the skill set is, even though it's an amazing skill set, it still doesn't actually grant Rufus logical access to the right side, because he still can't break blue walls, and he still hasn't found a right side teleporter or for energy. So there must still be something in this early area to that he hasn't found yet.
He just found that energy cell, so that does actually
Oh yes, my mistake.
logically open up the Death Gauntlet area, and of course they have clean water, so they can get through there as well. But there's also the possibility that any of the one-off awkward charge jump pickups, like the one above the wall jump tree, that could be a critical pickup that that's available to them, but is really not one that you want to end up checking. And Rufus is using this mega energy, following the path that Baron has been on now to go into the Death Gauntlet grotto area and tracing Baron's steps. However, Baron, of course, still does not have the huge skill advantage that Rufus has with the charge jump and the dash from not going to the charge flame tree.
And he's continuing to explore grotto. There might still be something here, but we already know that two of the best skills in the game that he's still missing can't be here. So it'll be interesting to see how long he continues here before heading over to the wall jump and the charge flame area, which he still hasn't done yet.
It's like Baron's going for a double bash chain on this spider shot. He's possibly looking to open up into the swamp area. It's interesting to see Baron going for this. Has saved it, so it's something that's maybe he's going to come back to later now that that's opened up. Though, of course, since Rufus has found the charge jump, Rufus doesn't even need to think about doing these double bash chains because he can just charge dash through charge jump through the ceiling instead. And Rufus is continuing through the grotto area, is heading down to the Gumo's hideout area. From the logic point of view, due to the amount of skills that they have, so many areas are now unlocked because they have access to grotto. They can now get access to grove by going up, and so there's a huge number of pickups that could have the progression now, and so it's kind of hard to predict what in particular it's looking for you to do, though it's also possible that the answer could be the Ginso tree, which is something that Baron said he was looking forward to doing. But Baron, since he doesn't have the verticality available, is unable to do so. But if you turn your attention to Baron's screen on the left, Baron was attempting a frog juggle, but he's currently having a little bit of issues and has left the frog juggle, but is then continuing through the swamp area instead.
Something that could make a big difference that I want to pull your attention to is that Rufus has leveled up to charge dash. This is not in logic, but charge dash gives him a way to break blue plants that Baron could not break when he was down here in grotto. So it would be very cruel if something were hiding in there, because then it would take Baron probably a very long time until he comes back here.
We could also see the possibility that with the skill set that Rufus has, and Baron will almost guaranteed to find eventually, it's just a matter of time with this charge flame tree being a required thing to make sure you get dash. With the amount of crazy tricks that Baron knows, we could see him even attempting to try and make just this minor skill set work for the entire rest of the game. Whereas Rufus, quite new to the randomizer, might want to play it a lot safer with going for many more skills, many more pickups, much more health.
You can see how much quicker dash just makes everything. Baron is really bleeding time here by not checking the charge flame area. But maybe he's heading to left blades now.
He's heading down to the teleport by the looks of it. Could be heading to Grotto, or is heading back down into Blackroot. Maybe he's thinking to head down to the grenade tree. That could be a possibility. Looking to get as many clues as possible. But it looks like he's heading down to get this keystone that he's remembered. So he now has 2 keystones. So now he could go into the
And he's heading over to
Glades
Glades.
area. It's a good memory there, remembering that pickup that often you end up reloading or dying afterwards because it's really slow to get. Remembering that has a keystone, so he can get through this door, and while the door is opening, decides to use the time to try and get these extra pickups that are underwater. And although Baron might not know that they're in logic, they are actually in logic, of course, because we know where Dash is, that it's just up at this sea flame tree. And this could be big for cereberon. This could be his opportunity to catch up, is going through the Glades area, and hopefully will go towards the sea flame tree as well.
Rufus, meanwhile, is checking Upper Moon Grotto. He can't continue through here with his current skill set, so I would assume that he's going up to Swamp Loop and maybe doing swamp entry, while cereberon is clearing out the wall jump area that we've already seen from Rufus.
Yeah, so from Rufus's point of view, he's still got so many pickups to go through. We'll have to see what he decides to do after going through Swamp. We could see him go into the Ginso tree with the water vein available, though his keystone count isn't looking too good, so it would be a bit of a risk to go into the Ginso tree with only 2 keystones. As getting through that first section, if you don't get those keystones there, having to do the dupe there is very, very slow to do. Baron also is a little bit low on keystones. If he needs to go through both the doors to get to the charge flame tree, like Rufus did earlier, he's going to need to spend 6 keystones and currently has 3, so that could be a concern for him. I don't remember exactly how many were in the Spirit Caverns area, but from Baron's point of view, that also might be a concern because he, of course, does not know. Rufus, of course, is now doing a somewhat difficult trick, but it is part of the All Skills run. I believe Rufus has run that category before.
Gets it.
Using
Well done.
this very awkward frog, as these frog shots have a roof, a ceiling that's invisible of the maximum height that they can go to, which is based on how far Ori was. So it's a bit awkward to position Ori in a certain way in which the frog shot will be able to hit the ceiling, but manages to do it without spending too much time.
Worth noting is the fact that upon entering Swamp, Rufus skipped an underwater pickup, which Baron got when he was there earlier, which was Wind Restored. This might play a role. Wind Restored doesn't do anything for the runners currently, because neither of them have Glide. But if they do happen to pick up Glide, that could make cereberon's traversal of the world a little bit easier than it is for Rufus.
But also, since they have so many power skills at the moment, they have the charge jump, they have the dash, and therefore the rocket jumps, the huge speed that they can get vertically from cancelling a charge jump near an enemy. They have lots of ways to be able to deal with these verticality problems that Wind Restored is a solution for, so I'm not expecting it to be that much of a concern, even if they do get Glide. But of course, it is a lovely luxury to have for cereberon if he does end up in a situation in which that's useful.
Rufus is currently teleporting over to Grotto again. Maybe he's going to check Hollow Grove area now, because he still hasn't found a logical way to get to the left side or down to Grenade Tree. Meanwhile, cereberon is also watching the Hollow Grove teleporter cutscene, so no time lost there. And there's Glide that we were talking about on Mapstone 4.
And now we've got the combo split among the two runners of the Wind Restored on the Baron and the Glide on Rufus. So,
Of
but
the
at
two,
least
I would
Rufus gets
definitely
some
rather have Glide.
at least Rufus gets some benefit out of the Glide. Is certainly very useful with this skill set. Is without Glide, he wouldn't have any ways to sort of help himself stay in the air besides some double bash chains. And even just doing double bash chains themselves, having Glide for that, always helps to make it a lot more comfortable to do and to stop Ori from falling down as quickly.
And Baron has finally picked up his dash. He's probably kicking himself because that was accessible very, very early. Let's hope he still heads down for charge jump, though. He does. Which puts him almost at skill parity again with Rufus, just missing the glide on Mapstone 4 that Rufus just picked up.
Yeah, but of course, Rufus has been able to use this large amount of time in which he's had this skill advantage to be able to get lots and lots of pickups and be able to more thoroughly clear the areas due to the charge dash, which Baron also has now, and so he can also break the blue walls, the plants and such. But as he didn't have that before, areas like Moon Grotto that just have a few random plants dotted about, they're not exactly very desirable areas to return to, and so you just end up missing his pickups.
Luckily for him, he doesn't know it, but we saw what all the plants in Grotto were, and none of them contained anything of huge importance. So if he does decide to not go back there, he's not missing out on anything crucial for the moment. Meanwhile, Rufus is going up the Ginso tree, making quick work of the mini boss he encounters here, and heading towards the bash tree. It will be interesting to see if he continues past it, especially since I'm not sure if we've seen the Sunstone clue yet, which might influence his decision.
Yes, and it looks like Rufus still only has 3 keystones going towards the Ginso tree door, which is a big problem, as he will need to dupe on this door, and that does look like what he's setting up for, lowering his health. And does he know the save position that he needs to use to be able to do this? It doesn't look like he has. He only got...
Oh no, that's a
ended
big time loss.
Ended up losing out on keystones from that just because the save was not in the right position. It's quite a weird, awkward position to do, and so I don't expect many runners to know exactly where you need to do that, and decides, you know what, I've had enough, I don't want any part of this Ginso tree, I'll come back later, I'll get my bash tree later. But this does give Baron chance to catch up, as Rufus has now spent a large amount of time investment trying to get through the Ginso tree to get that bash tree, and maybe to continue on to the very dense area of the top of Ginso, but has got barely anything out of it.
Rufus is currently in Valley Entry. Maybe he might be going for a very difficult Frankie lure to gain left side access out of logic. It seems that's what he's going for, since he reloaded the moment he killed the Frankie.
Setting up for the Frankie, he's trying to clear out the birds. He's going to position the Frankie at just the edge of this little platform, and then goes for quick double bash chain there. Just going back a little bit in time to try that again. Aims the Frankie, trying to position it on top of the peg.
And
gets
he gets
on top
it.
Of the peg, has it off health.
Very well done. And the friendly Frankie stomps the peg for him, opening up the way into the main room of Valley of the Wind. Meanwhile, cereberon has cleared out most of Hollow Grove and looks to be heading towards the Ginso tree right now. He does have the water vein already, which he picked up very early. Would not be surprised to see a Ginso play from him. He's also only on 3 keystones, and I don't remember if there were any keystones in the lower part of Ginso.
I believe there was at least one, as Rufus left with one less than he started with.
Oh yeah, makes
so
sense.
that should be safe for cereberon. Is trying to get this this ability cell, but doesn't quite have enough energy to be able to spam the charge dashes enough. And is now going to head into the Ginso tree. I do like this play from him. It's going to get him a tree. It's going to get him a lot of pickups, and it's going to get him a lot of knowledge as well of what different locations have. Hopefully.
Meanwhile, Rufus has taken a huge death. He died he died going up to the bird stomp cell, and he had neglected to place a save after doing the Frankie lure. So he has to do it again, but he has no trouble on the second time either. Still doesn't feel great taking a death of such proportions. He makes sure to place a save this time.
And now we see Rufus going into the valley area. He's deciding to go for the long route around valley here. It is possible to go the other way, but of course this way has pickups, and pickups are the name of the game in the randomizer, getting as many different useful things as possible. So he's opting to skip most of them, going for the fast stompless trick. Has to aim this spider projectile at a very specific angle. I don't think that angle quite looked good. Rufus agrees that it's not looking good, so goes for another shot. It's just got to get this at the exact angle he needs. That shot looked a little bit high, but could work. He needs to get out of the way fast enough so that the area unloads that the spider shot is traveling through. It looks like it just barely missed. So then he's
This is a very hard trick. So
absolutely, this is
that looked
being able
good,
to
that shot.
blindly aiming a spider shot through a wall to hit some the side of some rocks is certainly not something you do every day. Rufus is going for another shot. He's going to see if he can try and get this ability cell while the cutscene is going, but it doesn't look like he quite gets it again. He's going to have to go for another try.
Meanwhile, Rufus is having
this. Way. We'll see if he tries that instead.
Meanwhile, cereberon has picked up the bash tree and is deciding to continue further up. Makes sense. He has bash, so he can get all the pickups here, and this is a very dense little area with I think 8 pickups that are accessible in very short succession, and it just feels like there's always something good here.
Absolutely, there's so many pickups here. Baron could get all of them with bash here, so it should be very easy to thoroughly clear this area. Maybe even see Baron going for the Ginso escape play, like he's mentioned beforehand. Rufus manages to catch, as we see in the replay, manages to complete the fast stompless, shoots the spider shot, and is able to break the rocks from a distance.
Very well done by Rufus. That's very interesting. Baron has just found Climb, which in conjunction with the charge jump that he already has, gives him a very good stomp replacement, allowing him easy access to lower Blackroot, though it does not stomp pegs, so left side access is still elusive. And it seems like Baron is continuing even further up. Maybe this is the Ginso escape play that Baron has promised.
Yeah, it looks like he's duping the keystones, now has exactly 4. This is going to leave him with no keystones left to dupe with after this. Is seemingly forgotten that he has bash, and deciding to not bash any of the lanterns on the way up, but is damage boosting beautifully instead using the charge jump. And he's now
remembering the skills you have in Rando is one of its hardest challenges.
Make short work of that mini boss using the charge jump skill. Normally you're supposed to just do some some tricks with bashing the projectiles back at him, but of course, why use their projectiles when you can just become a projectile instead? And Rufus is heading straight through Misty, trying to grab some extra pickups still, maybe still not confident that this is a comfortably finishable seed with the skill set that they've got at the moment. So maybe we'll see, but with the Forlorn teleporter, with the Gumon seal, does put Forlorn into logic. Never something
Though-
you really want to be seeing.
Though the left side where Rufus is currently at is still out of logic, so
Oh yes, of course, because the bash needed to get the bash chain with the Frankie. We see Baron is going back to clean up some of the pickups that were missed due to not having the charge jump or the dash throughout going through Grotto much earlier. And so as they still don't know which area the final key, the Sunstone, is, it's a game of which trees can I go for to get that tree 9 clue, and they have lots of options. It does look like Rufus is saying, okay, maybe it's time for Sorrow. Having Glide and Sorrow is going to make this area a lot easier. Having Glide, having Charge Jump, having Dash, having Bash,
and he
all
does a
of these.
beautiful Sorrow bash, entering into Sorrow without Wind Restored. And it should be smooth sailing from here.
Yeah, you can just glide through the wind in the intended way, though doing the unintentional way of course, getting the Frankie, the frog to shoot the ceiling using a rocket jump. And we'll get to see what the Sorrow charge jump tree has in store for us. Potentially
will be-
something interesting. It won't be the tree 9 clue quite yet. We'll still need one more tree for that. And there's quite a few options for that available. Potentially going back into the Ginso tree. It does look like Rufus is duping a lot here, going over the keystone count needed for this door. Is saying, let's make sure I have enough for Ginso. Nice and safe play. It's hoping to not be stuck on keystones anymore.
Baron has been doing some cleanup, and right now he is heading down to the grenade tree, which is very which can be very easily accessed for him. Oh no, he's not heading down there. I apologize. He was just putting in the map stone, which also gave him glide. No, oh, also not. I'm sorry. He's one map stone away.
Rufus is attempting to get the charge jump tree. Did take a little bit of a death back through the glide area, but has managed to recover. Didn't lose the key dupe keystones from that either, so didn't have to do that again. Has now gained the charge jump tree and now is only 2 trees away from being able to enter the final escape, except for the Sunstone, which is the big problem at the moment. If Rufus is feeling confident with this skill set for the escape, then the Sunstone is going to be the thing that's going to decide whether or not he can continue. But of course, from the runner's point of view, trying to find this last tree for the 9th tree to get this clue is a very useful strategy, because you can go, okay, I know which area the Sunstone is in now. Now I can do both my skill searching and my searching for the Sunstone itself in the same area, and do 2 things at the same time. So that's probably what Rufus is trying to go for here, going through the Ginso tree, and we'll maybe see him continue on depending on where the clue is. Has of course already cleared out lots of these puzzles and such, and so is able to go straight for the door and grab the bash tree.
He can finally open the door now, and once he hits this tree, we will find out where the Sunstone is. And the Sunstone is the Sorrow.
That could be a big problem for cereberon if Sorrow is one of those areas that's very hard to traverse without glide. At some point, the developers decided what is the floor and got rid of it, and that is Sorrow Pass, the area, and Baron will have a lot of trouble there unless he can do some tactical moves with Bash when it comes down to it, or manages to place that fourth map stone, which will get him glide. Does have a map stone available in the inventory, so all he needs to do is find a map stone to be able to place it. Whereas we see Rufus heading straight into Sorrow. He wants his Sunstone, he wants his win here. Has a little bit of trouble with this Sorrow Bash, but has a lot of health, but isn't quite able to recover it. It's very close to a good recovery there. He's going for another try, had a save ready, which is excellent planning. Gets it the second time with the double bash chain, and now is able to head up into Sorrow. Just barely isn't caught by the wind. There we go.
Meanwhile, Baron has picked up Glide from the Swamp Mapstone where he put his fourth Mapstone in. So he's not going to have big troubles in Sorrow.
Which is very fortunate, as we'll see where it ends up being. Rufus decides that he's not interested in the mapstone itself, or decides not to place it, and then continuing on, so it's only focused on trying to get the pickups that the Sunstone is possible to be. So where are you expecting the Sunstone to be in Sorrow?
I mean, a vanilla Sunstone would be something.
Classic.
but maybe. But my guess is it's in the left keystone shaft that Rufus is closing in on currently, from below. That's a very dense area, so chances are pretty good that it could be hiding there.
There is, however,
it would be really bad if the Sunstone turned out to be grenade locked. There's exactly one pickup in Sorrow that is hard locked behind grenade, which neither of our runners have. So I'm guessing they would full clear Sorrow before going on a grenade hunt, but that could still be in the cards.
It is an option, and it is not a fun option to end up in. It doesn't look like it is in this shaft. Rufus is deciding to dump his keystones here in this door instead of going down the shaft. Doesn't want to have any thoughts with these lasers, or maybe is interested in the boulder instead. He's changed his mind. He's going to try and do the charge dash through this laser. Gets it beautifully.
Gets the first try.
No problems at all.
Well done.
And then he's going to try and sneak on through this little gap here. Ori is fortunately thin enough to make it, whereas Baron is picking up the grenade tree, which we have not seen Rufus get yet. So we'll see, since Rufus has already done the tree itself for the charge jump, there is, of course, the remaining pickups are these few pickups here in this little cave here full of spikes. There is the pickup that is just above the charge jump tree, and then there is, of course, also the sunstone and the plant itself. I'm not sure if I saw the runners actually. It doesn't look like they have. It's still on the map. There's two pickups that, although they're not in what you'd expect to be Sorrow Pass, they are actually classed as Sorrow Pass, which is the Crow Perch XP and the Wilhelm XP. It looks like that's what Rufus is deciding to go for. It has decided to not continue through Sorrow to get the Sunstone pickups.
If it turns out that one of these lower pickups is not it, then he's going to have to Sorrow Bash for a third time, which would really be unfortunate. Let's hope for his sake that he's going to find Sunstone on the Wilhelm XP.
So of course, spending all this time going in and out of Sorrow over and over again is giving Baron the chance to catch up. Baron is now making the trek over to the left side. That's the
And
only
it's not
area-
Wilhelm XP.
There's
So
the
Rufus
only
has
areas.
to go back up into Sorrow.
Yes, of course, Baron only has left side to clear left, so it's just the rocks, Misty, and Sorrow. Well, of course, Sorrow with the Sunstone is all that's left for Baron, whereas Rufus, even when he does find the Sunstone, will have to do the grenade tree as well. Rufus looks like he's gonna go for round 3 into Sorrow. Goes up once again. I'm gonna see it's another Sorrow bash. I'm sure he's gonna be very well practiced in it by the end of this seed.
It's definitely a good thing to practice, but maybe not in a race setting quite as often as he's done. Which pickups are left in Sorrow? Let's go over them. There's the grenade lock pickup, which would be really bad. There's the ability cell next to the teleporter. There's the vanilla sunstone and the plant next to it. I think that's it. Or am I
believe
missing
that is
something?
it, yes. So that is it's all that's left. Rufus can do a trick called a terror break here, which involves saving on the ceiling using save anywhere, and then repeatedly charge jumping into some spikes, and then holding glide the moment that you've done to break the ceiling, as the charge jump hitbox is around for slightly longer than Ori's respawn, and that is able to break the ceiling instead of having to do a very awkward long route. And this is going to get Rufus 2 of the remaining pickups here. It's an energy cell. Will we see the vanilla sunstone along with the vanilla water vein in this seed that we've had?
Or is he
will
going
this
to have
be-
to do the forlorn escape to find grenade, which would be the
It
worst
could
case
be.
scenario?
It could be that the fall-on scape is going to come into play instead. It's set up for the cutscene skip for the
And it's
Sunstone.
not
It
here.
is not there. So then there is 2 pickups left. It's a 50-50 left for Rufus, whether or not it will be the above charge jump ability cell, or whether or not it will be the very awkward single pickup that requires grenade.
Rufus is hoping as he's making his way over here that it's going to be this ability cell. But if it isn't, he's going to be very happy that he happened to pick up that forlorn TP in Misty when he did. Because the only other alternative would have been to search the entire world for grenade, and grenade could be anywhere, basically. And there it is,
There
the
it is.
Sunstone.
Rescued by the above charge jump ability cell. There's the sunstones, and now all Rufus has got to do is grab the grenade tree and then go to the end, and we'll see how difficult this escape will be. Hopefully it won't cause too many problems, but that is going to be pretty much Baron's only chance to catch up here, is being able to clear out all of these areas faster than Rufus can do a grenade tree and the escape.
Rufus does not have easy access to Lower Blackroot because he never found climb, so he is going to have to do this Frankie lure here. But it looks like he's off to a good start here. He knows how to lure the Frankie under the crushers, and the Frankie gets crushed. If he bleeds a lot of time here, then that might allow cereberon to catch up, especially since he doesn't have to do Sorrow Bash 4 times, since he has Wind Restored. And he already knows that he needs the Sunstone and is going to be in Sorrow once he picks up the climb tree that he is just approaching.
It's like Rufus has been experimenting with some different strategies here to do the Frankie. There's lots of different ways to do this. The
This
common
one's
way to do
looking
it
good.
with dash is to just hop in and out of the Frankie's range. There's 2 different ranges for the Frankie. One will cause the Frankie to do a long hop, which is very dangerous but faster, as that can cause the Frankie to bonk on the spikes or the crusher tops. that will cause the Frankie to die, and there's also if you're going far enough out, there's the short range hop that's a bit slower, but is a lot safer as there's no chance for hitting the spikes. Rufus decides, you know what, I'm going to make this nice and safe, I'm going to bash this Frankie instead, I'm going to make sure this Frankie has no opportunity to be bonking on any spikes today.
And
Just
he gets them past
barely
the last
misses
spikes
those
as
spikes.
well. And there it is. Please save. And he does.
Gets the save. Nice and safe. Has the ability cells to be able to skip this cutscene. Unfortunately, kills the Baneling, but has dash, so this shouldn't be a problem here. Yeah, makes clean work of the laser, and is able to skip this cutscene momentarily. And that will be all Rufus needs to be able to go to the final escape.
Cereberon is approaching his final tree as well. We'll see how thorough he is on the way there. I would assume he at least checks the spike cave everywhere. But I would also assume that once he hits the tree and hasn't found it, that he continues directly upwards and finds it in short order. So Cereberon's Sorrow Traversal was definitely a lot quicker than Rufus's, but it looks like it won't be enough. The missing dash for such a long time really hurt him in the end.
Of course, the race is not over yet. There is the possibility that Rufus could have trouble with this final escape, which is of course not what we would really want to see. We want to see Rufus be able to get this escape nice and clean first try. Rufus potentially thinking I want this, the horror teleporter, or maybe thinking I want to show off with this Baneling. Of course, this you can do this fancy trick. Doesn't quite store enough speed. You can, if you using your Spirit Flame ability to hit the Baneling, it will repeatedly build up speed while it's stationary until the moment it's released, and the Baneling will be catapulted in whichever direction is the opposite of which way it's facing. And Rufus has now made it to the final escape. Do you want to talk a little bit about the trick that's coming up?
The trick that's coming up is a trick known as Door Warp. You place a save in front of a door and load the game, and you try to press up to enter the door on the first frame of the game loading in. And if it does, the game gets confused and sends you to a different location than the door actually leads to. If you do it on this door, where Rufus is currently doing it, it sends you to the very end of the dungeon.
And we see Baron did not actually go up from the charge jump tree. Decided instead to hope that it's in one of these more dense areas instead. This is gonna cost Baron a lot of time. Though Rufus has not had much success with the door, is instead decided to go for the safe play of having a bout with this mini boss here. Quick to do when you have the charge jump and charge dash, as you can charge dash, charge jump all over it, and it will die very quickly. And Rufus has now made it into the final escape. This is all that lies between Rufus and the victory.
Let's see if this I don't think this escape should be that hard, but we'll see. I hope I didn't
So
just
we're
jinx it.
gonna focus all on Rufus's screen on the right here as he makes it through each of the individual rooms. He's got to use charge dash is his only way to break the floors, and so although he has plenty of energy, so there shouldn't be much of a concern. He's got to break the walls with that.
Takes a
Nice
damage
double
boost,
on the elemental. Is
but he should be fine.
zooming through, takes another damage, but the clean water is going to rescue him here. Being able to deal with this fish section much easier. And now all that's got to do is skip the crow trigger, manages to do it successfully, just got to bash some rocks, and you'll make it.
And he's
to the
out.
finish.
Going to hold right for about a minute 30 at this point, and then he'll be done. GG to Rufus. Meanwhile,
GG
cereberon
to-
is approaching the Sunstone as well, and he doesn't have a save anywhere set up. Is he planning
he's a
on
fan
watching
of-
this
fan of
cutscene?
lore. Wants to show us all the story of the Sunstone. Finds out that it's 151 XP. Instead, just decides to do a reload. Fairly sensible decision. Neither of those were important. Will he go and get the pickup that he needs? It looks like he is heading up again to do another terror break, and is going to go through these lasers and go a slightly different route than Rufus went through. Sorrow here has the climb and charge jump to be able to do this. Takes a lot of damage going through, but isn't going to have too much trouble here, hopefully, as lots of opportunities to save and recover lots of health from the plants. And Baron doesn't have Stomp, of course, so has to climb charge jump these. There's only one that's really going to pose any difficulty, but he's not going to get to that.
And he's got the Sunstone. So he's off to the final escape. Meanwhile, Rufus has finished with a final time of 57 minutes 22 seconds. As we initially mentioned, this is not just these two runners racing, but 17 other people as well, as this is a preliminary match. The time that Rufus achieved places him in 11th place among the racers. We'll see where Baron lands once he's done with the final escape that he is currently going towards.
Yes, and Baron, of course, having climb makes this escape ever so slightly more comfortable, but not really that much of a difference. Doesn't have Stomp to break the barrier in the quick way, and so has to quickly bash the Baneling. Instead, is able to just dash across over to Boru. Has far less energy than Rufus, but shouldn't be too much of an issue for this escape. We'll see if Baron does manage to complete the door warp or decides to go the same method that Rufus went with the mini-boss fight instead. We'll see momentarily if he does go for the reload. Looks like he is going to go for it. Will he get it first try? Manages to get it first try. That's, of course, a very difficult trick to pull off, especially with the nerves from a race. And now Baron just has the escape to do, and then the race will be finished.
I would assume that Baron is not going to have much trouble with this escape. I'm sure he's done lots of harder escapes than this one. He has climb charge jump, so he can actually break the floors and the walls in a way that doesn't cost him energy.
Yes, though it does dump a lot of the energy very early, so isn't going to have that available for later on. We may be able to see some fish strats. That would
He does
be
have one
exciting
energy
to
left.
see. Has the energy needed to be able to do so. Just needs to double bash this fish. He's just going for the single bash method on this fish, making sure to savor the journey with the fish. Goes for the rocket jump, barely misses.
And hits the ceiling and has to do, and lands in the fire.
It's an unfortunate death for cereberon. He's gonna go for another shot, see if he can make it this time. Maybe gonna go for the safe method, or maybe gonna be bold and go for yet another bout with the fish. Catches
Gets
the
through,
elemental shot.
taking no damage this time.
Lots of energy this time as well.
Fish chats the second.
There we go, gets the fish out of the water. Just gotta carefully aim the fish. Got it in a good charge, jumps into the fish instead. Oh, it's a disaster. Kuro's caught Baron.
Oh no.
This fish is determined to not let anyone pass today. Baron going yet again for another shot. He's making short work of these early areas. Just gotta charge charge jump through these barriers. Hopefully he'll manage to get it this time. Going yet again down through the zigzag, stomps into the water, and then is going to head for the fish yet again, is bashing the fish, yet again going for the single bashes on the fish to get it out of the water, going for the aim once again. It's a good position on the fish, but decides to go for an extra
And he gets it.
bash and gets
Nice rocket jump. And he's through. GG Baron.
GG to Baron. So it ended up being a rather close race in the end, with only about 5 minutes between the runners as they finish off here. Baron just got to hold right. There's no opportunity for any more disasters to occur, so it's all plain sailing to the end here. And we have Rufus in on deck, ready for an interview. So we'll be pulling him in momentarily to ask him about how the race went. Okay, we
Hello,
have
Rufus.
Rufus here.
Can you hear us, Rufus?
Yeah, sorry, I'm here.
Okay.
Right, we
Hi. GG.
congratulations on the race. You managed to get the win over cereberon. Are you proud of your performance today?
I'm happy I won. I made a lot of questionable decisions that I was kind of in my head about. So there's a lot of stuff I'm not happy about, but I think my execution was pretty good, so I'm happy about them.
You definitely looked good. You did a lot of sorrow bashes, and they all looked very good. So, that also leads into my first question. Can you talk us through your thoughts when you found out where Sunstone was, that it wasn't Sorrow, how you and your thoughts on how you were routing the search for Sunstone?
Honestly, I was just hoping it was in Lower Sorrow, so that's why I went and did Lower Sorrow first. I don't think I routed it super well. And then I just was thinking about the grenade locked pickup in the bottom half of Sorrow as well. And I was focusing so much on that I forgot that I had what I needed to go up to like the upper parts of Sorrow. So then I was like, I don't know where it could be. I'm like, oh well, I'll just go check that pickup the top of Valley that's in Sorrow, because that had something the other day in one of the races, and so that's kind of why that. And then I was like, well, I'm being stupid. Of course I can go check up these other pickups. The only one I can't check is the grenade one, so that's why I went back and finished that.
It went down to the wire. It looked like it might be the grenade one, but you found it on the final pickup that wasn't grenade locked. I bet you were very happy at that point.
Yes, I was already mentally prepared to go to Forlorn, because I did have a Gumon Seal and Teleporter, so I could easily have done the Forlorn escape to get the clue, but I did not want to have to do that.
Right, so what about when you had that visit to the charge flame tree and you gained the charge jump and the dash? At what point in the seed did you decide, you know what, I don't really need to be checking lots of extra pickups, I'm ready to go mode? Or did you never really feel like you hit that point?
Yeah, I think I should have go moded a lot earlier than I did. After I got Glide, I think I should have just gone go mode. But I was really hesitant to, because this is these upgrades aren't what I'm used to. And I have this fear of trying to go mode and then getting locked on something I forgot about, or that I thought I could do but I couldn't because I'm inexperienced. And so I was just erring on the side of picking up more things. But in the back of my head, I kept telling myself you should be doing go mode, you should be going go mode. But I was too scared to commit to it. So that's why I was kind of going towards objectives, but picking up still pickups along the way.
Well,
Makes
it did
sense.
end up working out for you. Liftoff, do you have any more questions for Rufus?
Maybe just a final question. What are you hoping for the future preliminaries? And just your thoughts on how the preliminaries and the tournament has gone so far in general.
Yeah, I've already done 5 preliminaries, but my overall score is still lower than what I want. So I plan on still playing and we're trying to improve that score. My goal is I just kind of want to be in the middle of the pack when it comes to a seed, somewhere where I'm not playing off against top seeds in the first round. That's my goal.
Makes sense. Good luck with that on future matches.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And great performance today. And we also have cereberon here also for an interview. cereberon, how are you feeling after that seed?
That was a wild ride, for sure.
It definitely was.
So the big question for you is, what made you decide that instead of going through the traditional way of going through glades and then into the grove area, what made you decide to try and skip ahead and go to grotto first?
Well, the grotto play, we got Bash really early, so there's a lot you can check with Bash. And wall jump lets you go up as well. Now, what I wasn't expecting was to find 0 keystones and then burn my 2 without thinking going to the tree. That was a big problem. Locked in at that point.
But you did manage to remember that you had that keystone in that ability cell in Blackroot, which is a good memory of the seed. Liftoff, do you have a question?
I had one, but I just forgot it. I'm sorry.
Another question is when you have that area that you know the key is in, and so in this case the sunstone in Sorrow, do you have a specific route that you like to do for the area? Looks like you went up to the tree first, tried to rush for that. Is that your typical strategy for that situation?
My hope was that Sunstone wasn't too deeply hidden. Unfortunately, it was the very last pickup for me, other of course than the grenade. So I really hoped that I would find it in the nachos, and of course, there's more pickups below than above, so I went backwards. And then I didn't find anything down there, so I hopped back up.
Unfortunately, the strategy did not quite work out for you, but you did play very well.
Yeah, there were a couple times where I fumbled. The fish strats at the end is obviously the most memorable because it just happened.
Yes, so continuing on with the tournament as a whole, how have you felt about your performance so far in the preliminary matches?
Well, this replaces my lowest ranking, so pretty happy about that. I have this just wild range of times. I have to find a way to consolidate and make less mistakes.
And do you have any goals for the tournament overall?
Well, I'd like to be in the top 20 and maybe higher if the seeds give it to me, but it's gonna take a little practice. Again, I just gotta consolidate my time so that I can put out the really good times, the sub 40s and whatnot, consistently. Otherwise, it's kind of a coin flip at that point.
Well, good luck with that. There's still 1 week of preliminaries left, during which you can still attempt to improve your seeding, and I'm sure you'll get some good races in during that 1 week.
Thank you.
Right, and if there's no more questions, then we will be closing off for this match. But we do have more Ori for you today. There is another match at 6 p.m. EDT, and that will be on SpeedGaming 1. and it'll be a showcase. Yes, another preliminary, but it'll be a showcase between Guard versus Wesper. And so today, of course, this match would not have been possible to show off without our wonderful truck of 2Kill and Fox Diamond, and restreaming as Apple Tree, and of course, none of this would have happened without our wonderful group of tournament organizers as well. So thank you everyone for watching.
And make sure to tune in a little less than 3 hours when the next race is going live. See you then.